brought my book here, so we're going to work on some of this. But before we do, I'm just going to talk about a few cool things that have been happening today and the last couple of months. So one of the things that's been going on, which is not so good, is I've been struggling to reinstall like Windows 7 and stuff like that on a bunch of computers. But now that my HP is back up and running with everything set up, I think we now have a total of 2 computers that I can use intermittently. So maybe sometimes, or like I'll use one and maybe some other time I'll use the other to get real flight to fly as best as it can, as well as potentially some other video games that I've found on Steam, Le Dream. So that's something that is sort of positive and somehow negative, but there is one thing that I was like, oh, I'm gonna try my very best to get Windows 7 on the Microsoft machine of death. And unlike the politicians, I will tell you the truth, and I'm gonna tell you that I screwed up big time, and so I ended up almost destroying the computer. And unfortunately, that led to me understanding that, and after a lot of research and stuff, and understanding how to reboot the new and latest and greatest Windows 10, which is a pain, because a lot of the stuff that you need in order to reboot the system doesn't actually come with. So then I had to use a separate computer. I had to borrow someone else's computer to create a recovery drive for the thing, so then I could actually reboot it and get it back up and running. But it turns out also that the operating system, although they call it Windows, Microsoft Surface Pro 7, it comes with not a Pro version of Windows. And apparently there's this thing that you need that's called virtual machine or something, which is a software that you install on it in order to be able to install Windows 7. It's basically, it's way too complicated. And when things are that complicated, just to get things to run, it's just it's not worth the trouble. It's not worth the trouble. So what I did is I basically formatted the entire hard drive, have a fresh copy of Windows 10 Basic, whatever came with the thing, so it hasn't done any of the newest, latest, and greatest updates. So it is a little bit more streamlined than what it was when it was giving me trouble. I'm hoping that now real flight will fly better, but we're stuck with Windows 10. Again, being that I'm not a politician, I have no trouble telling you guys that I totally screwed up. What if they finally learn how to do that? Anyway, this here is one of the drones that has been giving me so much pleasure these days. It is the Hubsan Xeno Mini SE. And today I went out to the lake and I did a little bit of Tai Chi sword. And this thing was following me around like a champ. So, gotta tell you guys, this is way under budget compared to any of those latest and greatest Autel or DJI. If you want something that'll track you with limited budget, you could get this. You could get this. It's been making me very happy these days. Not saying don't get the other ones. The other ones are great, but not everybody has that kind of money. So also, we've got this thing here, right here. This thing right here. In the back it says Theta. In the front it says Rico. Pretty awesome. I've been getting some really good footage on this. Again, a masterpiece. The only gripe I have with this thing is it does 5 minutes at a time. So once those 5 minutes are up, well, you have to repress the button and continue on like that, which is a bit of a pain. I've gotten used to it. Some of the other cameras that I had in the past, a little bit cheaper, didn't have that problem, especially the Lenovo, Lenovo Mirage something. Who knows? Too much technology to work with. And then there was the other one, the other 360 camera that was sort of Facebook-ish inspired for a while, and then I'm not sure if Facebook dumped it. I mean, Facebook was telling you this little camera here is the future, and then they probably dumped the product. And then the other one was the Lenovo, and then Google and YouTube dumped the product, and they told me to get this one. This is the advice they gave. They said, this is the new thing that you want to do live streams with and stuff like this, which it's true. It's cool. It's amazing. But it's got this 5-minute limitation for some reason. I don't know. how to get rid of it. I don't know how to get rid of it. Always trying to learn the latest and greatest technology, and sometimes you get stabbed by the system. Anyway, this is an inside joke that only Eli the computer guy will get. But anyway, I thought I'd show you guys this. It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. If you follow Eli the computer guy, you may find this to be quite hilarious. Anyway, from Snowflake AZ to Rudolph WI. I guess is that Arizona and Wyoming? I don't know. I'm not good at geography. So we're delivering everything you need to get holiday ready. Whatever that means. Anyway, if you want to send me a joke or anything funny for the holidays. This is my P.O. box over here, my P.O. box. You thought it was my address. It's not. It's my P.O. box. It's my P.O. box. Anyway. The things you live with. Anyway, I'm just going to ask you a question, which was quite an interesting one that is going to be pretty controversial. I'm going to ask you a question and see if anybody has the stones to answer this question in the comments. And the question is marriage a form of socialism or communism? Because I don't know, just putting it out there. Maybe we've always had socialism and communism in America. We just didn't know about it. It was just rebranded in something else. Anyway, I'm going to get canceled for this one. The coder, let's see, coder debacle or nightmare. That was another thing I want to talk about. And then, I said I created that burner account to watch what happens with Twitter these days. But anyway, I wanted to say one thing about Elon. And the thing is with Elon right now, the way that he set things up, whether he is a complete disaster for Twitter or not, the way that he was playing this chess game, I have a feeling that he will win either way. I think he's getting a horse ton of crap amount of publicity by being the guy that sticks it to the coders. I mean, again, I don't agree with any of this. I just want people to get along. I'm just done with this whole thing. I just want people to get along, and I want a stable life for my child and for everybody's children going in the future. I'm tired of this, the blues versus reds and all this garbage. But the way that I see it with Elon is he can't lose at this point, because he does one thing and a certain group of people are gonna love him for it, and he does something else and another group of people are gonna love him for that. So the way I see it, he doesn't lose in this thing, but boy is it brutal. Boy is it brutal for whoever is stuck in there. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out. Again, like I brought two companies to the complete disaster. I burned 2 companies to the ground because I don't understand how, and I did not, especially back then, I didn't even understand. I even understood the whole thing less back then, but because of idealism. So I don't know. Idealism tends to destroy things. I had 2 really cool companies that I was extremely proud of the work that all the artists and coders and riggers and animators and all kinds of stuff. I was very proud of the work that they did. I will always be proud of all the 3D printing people and stuff. And unfortunately, idealism, video game software engineers, just proud of all the work that they've done for Meow Meow and Marvimation over the years. The thing is that idealism, not having ways to really support the company that you're making is a disaster, and eventually you know, you've got to pick and choose. Live your life and just allow the two ships to sink, or, you know, um, just keep going until you end up homeless. So eventually those two companies went into the ground, and I gave up and stuff, and it was a disaster. But anyway, on the upside, if you want to learn how to do Yong Chuan or Wing Chun, you guys can get yourself this really cool book right here. Strongly recommended, especially because it was envisioned by Grandmaster Tom Wong, and a lot of awesome people that I got to meet in person collaborated to make this thing a reality. So if you haven't got that, it's on Amazon. Please go check it out. Again, it's the secret origin of Wing Chun. Secret origin of Wing Chun, right there. There we have it. In case you guys are hanging out at the Segerstrom or the South Coast Repertory, there are things always going on around there. I recently got this in the mail. I think it is 600 Town Center Drive, Costa Mesa. And no, this is not a P.O. box. So if you guys want to check that stuff out, always something fun going on there. But the worst has happened. The worst has happened, which is, you know, those people just don't want to. They just don't want to retire and just disappear. They just don't want to retire and disappear, which is why it's going to be a disaster. And I can't wait for SpaceX, or the latest and greatest Oculus to appear at my door. I either want a ticket to get on SpaceX, or Mark to send me the latest and greatest Oculus, because either way I'm going to Mars. I am going to Mars. I'm just disappointed. I'm disappointed because it's going to be the battle of the dinosaurs again. And I said this before, because it happened last time. And unfortunately, when you set a precedent for something, then it becomes a thing. So people are going to be limping for the presidency again. We've got Donald Duck. We've got Joe Obama, who I'm not sure wants to be president anymore. I think he's done. I think he's like, well, you guys forced me to be president. It was supposed to be Bernie. It was supposed to be Bernie. But you guys put me here, and I'm stuck here, and now I have to go on camera and I can't remember what's going on and stuff. So there's one politician in there. But can I just say something? Never been a fan of Kamala Harris. I've never been a fan of Kamala Harris. She's done things that I totally do not agree with. She's a questionable politician and stuff. But can I just say this? If Hillary Clinton is running or limping, because I mean she's practically a cyborg. She is practically a cyborg. I don't even know if she's still alive. If that is an animatronics. I don't know. If Hillary runs, can we just put, like, I don't know. Can we just put Joe Obama out of commission in some way, in some nice way, and just let him retire in a nice way, and just say that Kamala Harris is going to be the next president, because we just cannot have Hillary Clinton. We cannot have Hillary Clinton, and it's going to be a disaster. It's going to be hilarious Clinton. It's going to be hilarious Clinton against Donald Duck and Joe Obama. And in this disaster, I mean, at least we could have a woman as president. And Kamala Harris, as much as I do not like Kamala Harris, sounds pretty good right now. She is sounding pretty good right now. Oh my gosh. Anyway, here we go. If anybody has the stones to drop a comment on YouTube, or hit me up on Facebook or any of the other social media platforms, and you have a 3D printer and you want any of these cool RC car stuff, as well as all the other models. I've got all kinds of different models. It's not just one. There's almost about maybe 200 3D printable models available on CG Trader that you guys can get hooked up with should you want to. Again, you could donate if you'd like to, but you don't have to. I'm willing to give all these things out for free if you have a 3D printer and are willing to give them a shot. You've got stuff like dragons, yo-yos. I created a butterfly knife. This is not it. Cool, like Saint Seiya inspired things. You've got cool models. Again, if you have the ability to modify 3D prints and stuff like that yourselves, you could just take this and pose it in different cool things. You could make your own sculptures out of these. Just let me know. Just let me know. Again, I've been on YouTube since the inception of YouTube, and just trying to create a community around all this cool stuff. I tried in Irvine and stuff. I tried creating a video game that was supposed to help children as young as preschoolers to learn how to park. That didn't work out. So now I'm just doing these crazy live streams. Anyway, you guys came here for not all this stuff, but I thought I'd just put it out there. And you guys were here for this awesome thing. No, not that one. That was a squirrel. That was an inside joke from one YouTuber who enjoys watching another YouTuber's content, and he always puts a smile on my face. So anyway, he gets it. Anyway, so in the last episode of that conniving pesky son of a gun Marco Reviews, we went into this thing over here, which is a cool robot, and Robert Jake Davis II did some cool things with a bulb, creating this thing here so that you've got a kind of like a face inside a bulb that should light up, because that is cool, and it's very Christmassy too. So it's perfect for right now, except it's not Christmas. It's only just past Halloween, and for some reason we're forgetting Thanksgiving. What is up with all of that? But we know that Thanksgiving has been canceled because of the latest discovery that America was discovered by the Spanish. It was not the Italians, apparently. Whether there's evidence of that or not, I don't know. But as I said before, if the Spanish are willing to take responsibility for the atrocities done to the natives, I'm cool with that. Because I don't want to be responsible. I don't want my ancestors to be responsible for the disaster with the natives. So, hey, it's cool. You can take credit, Spanish. The Spaniards can take credit for it. It's cool. It's cool with me. All right, anyways, Chapter 3, Servo Controller Shield. You can purchase a generic servo controller shield for your Arduino, but you can also easily make your own servo controller shield if you know how to solder. And we know that I don't know how to solder, so oh gosh, the other day. It's so cool to watch Joshua Bartle and a bunch of the other awesome channels that I promote do the soldering, because when I do it without the spare hands or whatever they call those things, it is a disaster. The servo shield's construction is not that tricky, as most of the servo connector pins are just soldered together in parallel rows. Oh, those parallel rows. We love those parallel rows. The electrical design is fairly simple. Basically, all of the pins furthest from that data pins go together to a ground connection binding post. And we know how we like our binding posts. Then all of our middle pins go together to an external power connector binding post. Usually 6 volts is what he says. Then all of the pins closer to the data pins go to the data pin that they are closest to. There are a total of 14 data pins, but the first 2 data pins are usually not used. Don't ask me why. I don't know. Apparently, apparently the first 14, not 12, 14 data pins are not used. That is because, okay, oh, he explains it. Shh, he's going to explain it. That is because D0 and D1 are used to communicate with the Arduino. Okay, so Arduino, we've got 14 pins for you. If you connect a servo to them, it will go through all kinds of contortions whenever you update the software in the Arduino. Up next is a picture of the bottom view of the shield. Note in the picture that I connected the top two servo control lines back to D11. Let's be clear, D11, let's not confuse people, and D13. So 11 and 13. This arrangement allows for two servos to be connected to the same control pin. That will work for instances where you have two servos that are essentially doing the exact same thing. Using this trick, you can then control more than the 12 servo limits. That's cool, that's cool. So you can make this so that you can control more servos than it actually has capabilities to do. I love tricks. This is a pretty cool life hack right there. Later on, I added 6 more servo positions that are connected to the 6 analog input pins. If you buy a servo shield, usually all 20 possible positions are already wired in the shield. Cool. So he's going to show you. He's going to show you in this picture what that looks like. Right there and somewhere there. Cool beans? Cool beans? I think cool beans are in order here. With a little rice. And vegan spice. There you go. Here is the top view of the servo control shield. And then it says, in the last picture, you can see an optional 100 UF at 16 volt capacitor is connected from the power pins to the ground pins. This helps to reduce the amount of electrical noise on the power lines. And we're always worried about those power lines because drones, you know. It is still not safe to power the Arduino from the same power supply as the servos. Not sure why, but take his word for it. He knows what he's doing. Here is a picture of a professional servo sensor shield. For comparison, the GVS stands for ground voltage and signal. Note that it has jacks for LCD screens. Okay, so we always got to have a good jack for the except if it's Jack Dorsey, I'm not sure. burn screens, Bluetooth, and several other things. Cool. So anyway, as I said before, note that it has jacks for LCD screens, Bluetooth, and several other things. The Bluetooth connector is located on the right side and it is offset. Bluetooth only uses the top 4 pins. They are 5 volts and it has a GND, which means ground, TX, which just stands for Texas, and RX, which stands for one of the special, is it Lexuses? No, I'm just kidding. I don't know what TX or RX stand for, but GND is usually for ground. The unused 2 bottom pins are ground and 3 volts. I've got to study what RX and TX, and I don't have Google. I can't ask Siri or anybody right now. Amazon, what does TX stand for? There is a design bug in the design of the servo sensor shield. First, you need to remove the green jumper to separate 6 volts for the servo power at the screw terminals from 5 volts logical for the Arduino. So the logic for the Arduino, 5 volts for some reason, 5 volts. There's a lot of things talking about 5 volts and ground here. Okay, well anyway, don't put more than 5 volts in there or you're gonna fry everything. However, even after you do this, the servo connected to the analog, the A0 to A5 servo pins are still connected to 5 volt logic level. If those servos try to do any work at all, they will overload the 5 volt regulator and shut the Arduino down. So So it's good. The Arduino seems to have some kind of fail-safe situation thing that will allow you to shut it down if you overpower it with more volts than required. Now, it looks like there's four batteries, and this is usually 9 volts, I think, 9 or 8 volts for that one here, this battery here, and these are something else. These are the usual AA batteries that you see in all the remote controls and stuff. Pretty inspiring stuff. Are you inspired to get yourself an Arduino and a Raspberry Pi and start building your own amazing robots? If not, I'm disappointed in you. Go get yourself some of that cool stuff and start building the world, and then teach me how to do it. and then drop some comments and teach me how to do it. The fix for the sensor shield is not that easy to do. You have to cut the 5-volt logic run in 2 places, then jumper 5-volt power around the servo pins. Then you need to connect the servo pins back to the 6 volts from the screw terminals. These changes are shown in the next picture. Also, there was a run that was burned off the board in the top right corner of the picture. That has been repaired. So top right corner, somewhere around here, he says that there's been something that burned out. So be careful. It says cut 2 runs here. Then add jumpers for 5-volt logic and for 6-volt servo power. So something happened there, or he did that on purpose. I don't know. But there was burnage. Oh, Mr. Burns. Oh, Mr. Burns. Usually a 9-volt battery is used to power the Arduino. A 6-volt battery pack consisting of 4 rechargeable AA batteries is used to power the servos. The 4 AA batteries, as in the 4 AA batteries, actually deliver about 5 volts, as rechargeable AA batteries are 1.2 volts each. There we go. So each one of those batteries is 1.2 volts. But if you combine them, and then you get 4 volts. Now, I don't know what happened with that cool Dremel. You guys saw that those were 6 of those 1.2 AA batteries in series. So you can do the math. I'm not going to do it for you because I couldn't do it even if I wanted to. And you can figure out how much voltage is required to operate that little Dremel thing that you guys saw me use. It says coming up next is a picture of the batteries that you will need for wireless operation of your robots. At the top of the picture is a standard 9-volt battery with a needing... Wait. Whoa. Go back there. At the top of the picture is a standard 9-volt battery. So I was saying 8 volts. I was wrong. It is 9 volts. With the needed adapter to power the Arduino. Below that are 2 different options for powering the servos. So the servos, sometimes you'll find those nickel metal hydride batteries. You saw me with a tank. There's a tank that I have that runs it like that. There was a mini drift RC cars that had a nickel metal hydride battery pack. I think it was either 1,800 mAh or 2,000 mAh. But those usually round off to about 4.8 volts. So, yeah, close to 5 volts is what they're saying once you put some of those batteries together. Rechargeable batteries are preferred as you will drain a lot of batteries while you test out your program. So, yeah, remember that. Although I used to like to use Duracell all the time, those are my favorite non-rechargeable batteries. For some of these things, you will end up destroying them all. So, unlike Spectrum remote controls, you will find that these things here that you get with most of those Arduino and a Raspberry Pi kits will run your larger EBL or Amazon batteries and stuff, or Costco batteries, rechargeable stuff. So unlike the Spectrum remote controls that will only fit like Duracell and smaller batteries, these will fit anything that you throw at them. So I tend to use EBL rechargeable batteries, as well as the Amazon. I like those too. Just the EBL are a little bit cheaper for those people who want us on a more shrinked more shrunk budget, you can use those. Otherwise, I do really like the ones from Amazon and Costco rechargeable. Anyway, also the rechargeable batteries put out nearly 2 amps of power for as much as hour of operation. So about an hour of operation, you put out 2 amps. That would be 30 minutes of power at 4 amps of power usage. For testing, you can usually use 6 volts, 2 amp AC adapter. This is what he's saying here. I think most people will use 5 volts. I don't know if I have any 6 volt, 2 amp AC adapters. I think most of them are 5 volts. So I don't know if that's going to cause any issues or not. Just don't use the 12 because you're probably going to burn everything to the ground, including your house. And we don't want that because in California we have too many fires as we should not have. But, you know, the politicians do what they do. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Don't cause extra damage. That's what. For my tests, I used a 5 volt 10 amp power supply that I have turned up to about 5.6 volts. Oh, okay. So your regular 5 volt amp power supplier may not work. So he turned it up to 5.6 volts in order for this to run. So this is probably a project that I can't do because I wouldn't know how to amp it up anyway. That way, and I asked Steve so many different times to show me or create a video on how to use a buck converter to change things, but you know, he's busy with, I'm not sure what. I don't think he's ever going to do it, although I donated one of those things to him. I don't know if he'll ever do that. It'd be cool because he said he was going to start off his brand new YouTube channel, but it's, I don't know. The best way to start a YouTube channel is to just start a YouTube channel. It's not to try to create the most amazing. He's a perfectionist, and that is a problem. If it isn't perfect, it's not going on the YouTube channel. That's why my videos have been up since YouTube, the inception of YouTube, and a lot of people who wanted to start a YouTube channel never started it because they're like, well, my content is not up to snuff, so I'm not going to start a YouTube channel. Well, that's not going to work for you. That is why you still haven't got a YouTube channel running. Anyway. That way, I did not have to keep recharging batteries, is what he said. So he just basically cut the middleman. He said, I'm just going to power everything through a consistent battery, basically the wall. And by using a consistent plug using the wall, he didn't have to use any of the rechargeable batteries. Anyway, we have reached chapter 4, and we're going to end the live here with chapter 4 because I got to go home and do some amazing real fight. Anyway, this guy here is the guy who wrote this cool book. And if you're into technology, you probably should get yourself this cool book because it's fun. There are ways to get this book for free online, but I wanted to support the Robert J. Davis II. I don't want to insult him by forgetting his name. And so I bought the actual hard copy of the thing. All right, before I leave, I'm going to say, if you haven't bought this book, please buy this book. It's amazing. And you know what? I'm going to read a couple of things from it before we leave. But before I do, I'm just going to say, my lungs suck. Anyway, that's not what I wanted to say. I wanted to give a shout out to Aini Doll, who is going to be sending me a brand new copy of The Broken Head that I had before. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed and hope that it's going to be the head that I want, but most likely it's going to be the same head that you guys saw, just a new version with hopefully working software. You can't be too, how do you say? You get what you get and you don't get upset, even though you spent a lot of money on that thing. So I'm hoping that somebody out there is going to be loving and send me the thing that I really want, as opposed to the thing that I get. So we'll see how that goes. It'll be cool if I get what I want. But again, doesn't usually happen. So we'll see what goes up. But in the meantime, I will say thank you for Shengmei. Shengmei has sent me some amazing products to review. D Domisol, amazing products to review. Color Farm sent me some awesome products to review. And Excellent has sent me some amazing products to review. And that's why I always keep bringing them up. Because they have. Shark has also sent me an amazing thing to review. Sometimes I forget Shark. I should not forget Shark because Shark is cool. Anyway, for all those amazing people. And OC Rocks USA. OC Rocks USA. Anyway, sometimes things come to me and sometimes they don't. Although the practices in the Aomei monasteries were initially based on Taoism, they incorporated concepts from various branches of Kung Fu over time. In particular, it adopted a lot of Buddhist practices during the Qing dynasty, Three Kingdoms era, and the Qing dynasty as a result of three big civil wars. Not only that, Eastern Chinese culture was brought into the western part of China as a result of the Tang dynasty and Ming dynasty emperors' endorsement of Buddhism. It is even said that Buddhist monks rescued emperors from those dynasties during assassination attempts. Consequently, the Aomei monasteries turned more towards the practice of Buddhist principles to meet the demand of such practice. I'm going to show you a couple of pictures here because you should see them. Very interesting indeed, as well as this one. There we go. Through their observations and osmosis of other styles, Aomei practitioners absorbed and consolidated the Kung Fu teaching styles of other temples. Some of these styles were antithetical in philosophy and techniques. However, Buddhist and Taoist Kung Fu styles and philosophies ended up coexisting and commingling. Ding-a-ling-a-ling. Forget about that. Eventually, they evolved into a massive body of Kung Fu, philosophical knowledge and religious practices. As time passed, hundreds of masters from different backgrounds mixed old styles, invented new styles, and added new techniques to improve their Kung Fu. Some styles were like different colors, which when mixed together resulted into new colors. While some Kung Fu styles emphasized powerful physical execution, other styles focused on agility and precision. In particular, some Aomei Kung Fu branches began to shift their attention towards generating short and penetrating strike power. The striking power is so penetrating and demolishing, minimizing muscular tension. So it's talking about minimizing muscular tension, using leverage, moving with explosive force, and not telegraphing their movements. So that is kind of one of the difference between the hard style of Kung Fu and the more hard style. So basically, if you're doing the traditional style, karate style, super hard style kind of thing, you do a lot more tensing in your body motion compared to the say Tai Chi or the Yang Chuang, in which you're just using motion and a certain rhythm in order to get the same kind of power, which is why a lot of people transition over from hard style to soft style as they get older, because too much tensing as an older person could actually lead to some not so pleasant results. Anyway, these concepts favored the smaller body frames of local practitioners and arose in response to question of how smaller individual could successfully defeat larger and more powerful adversaries. So in this case, if you use the force of your enemy by tricking them into getting off balance or something, you're able to generate more power than you would by just trying to beat a bull by grabbing it by its horns and try to get it to do what you want it to do, which we all know doesn't work very well because the beast is just too large and too powerful. And so if a man goes up against a gorilla, the gorilla can just lift a man by one arm and possibly just rip out its arm. So if you want to beat a chimpanzee, if you want to beat a orangutan or one of those big monkeys, you probably don't want to use hard style kung fu because it probably is not going to work so well for you. It's not going to end well. It's not going to end well for you. As a result, practitioners train their body energy, sensitivity, and utilize their own body leverage to compensate for their physical disadvantages. They followed and tapped into the opponent's weaker energy link or opening and channeled all of their power into attacking the weakest spot of a larger person. This concept was known as using 4 ounces to move 1,000 pounds. This new form of kung fu was more tailored towards women and small-framed men. It relied less on upper body strength and more on the use of leverage, requiring great sensitivity and sharpened reaction times for its practitioners. The style also emphasized short and powerful strikes in rapid succession and complex leg maneuvers that substituted for long, strong arms, including low, mid, and high kicks, twisting kicks, and over 10,000 methods of grappling. Students who trained in this internalized system also emphasized ever-changing energy manipulation, including the use of qi, and internal energy, which a lot of people don't believe in, but exists. It has been proven. When was the last time that I went to that something? Was it close to this? Was it the Segerstrom? They had this thing where there's this machine that basically takes a picture of your aura and your chi. So it's been scientifically proven that it exists and that there are energy fields that are physically quantifiable. Anyway, chi enhanced strength and hastened recovery, leading to improved external performance of techniques. This internal system also led their minds to develop back to speech lessons for me. Such a way so that the breathing, sensitivity, and manipulation of subtle chi energy could be converted and utilized to offset aggressive attacks and enhance the body's physical recovery processes. Because these smooth-looking gestures and techniques appeared effortless, the displays of explosion power appeared mysterious to bystanders. These sensitivity skills were not taught to the general public and had to be taught individually. It's really difficult to teach people Tai Chi and the internal arts and mass teach them because it has a lot to do with empathy and understanding how your blood flows and stuff like that. Having physical sensitivity with your body, and it's all about feeling. And there aren't a lot of people that can really do this thing because they're not willing to give up control. And that's one of the things that Benny the Jet, Urquidez, explains in in his philosophy of martial arts. A lot of people show up at the gym and they get really upset. Why did that guy hit me so hard? And blah 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 blah. It's more about how you feel and how comfortable you are with yourself. It's just like if somebody comes up to you and insults you in the street. How are you going to take that insult? And if your physical and also your emotional and everything, your skin and all that stuff is on the very surface of your being, you tend to react very negatively and fight back instantaneously to those kinds of things. But when it comes to internalizing and being able to understand the chi, the power of chi within you, it is all about the internal force and not the dark side of the force. So A lot of people just can't get their head around that stuff. Anyway, made a bunch of videos on this, so you guys can go check it out. It is Tai Chi for Empaths on this channel. But anyway, it's usually information for people who really want to get into the stuff, and most people won't understand it or think it's mumbo jumbo. So it's not for anybody. It's not for everybody. So eventually they became a signature style of Ome Wing Chun. Having said that, despite Shaolin influences on the Ome style of Kung Fu, as well as the Wing Chun style that was later developed, the practice of Ome Kung Fu is distinct from Shaolin Kung Fu. Excuse me. And the core concepts of each family of martial arts are very different. In addition, while it is possible to add techniques from Ome Wing Chun to Shaolin Wing Chun and vice versa, mixing the two philosophies is like trying to mix oil and water because of the vastly different ideology and focus in training. So I guess it could work, but you would have to be a genius to be able to get it to work, so most people don't do it. This is also why Yen Kai-san later shows... I don't know, it's not exactly how you pronounce it. It probably is pronounced differently right here. Pronounced differently based on your location in Asia. Some people might say yuan. Some people will say something else. I don't know. I'm just going to go with Yen Kai-san. And then you guys can say however you think it should be said, because I don't know, and I always butcher everybody's names. So let's go back to what we were talking about. This is also why Yen Kai-san later chose to remove most of the Shaolin ideas from his training to focus more on Aomei ideas and techniques. The Aomei family of Kung Fu includes the Sui, Wong Lam Pai, Dragon Gate, and 36 other sub-styles. So again, I have no idea how to say that. So somebody is going to help me out here to say it properly, maybe in the comments, or make a video and then post a link to how you're supposed to say this stuff in Chinese the proper way. That would be cool. That would actually help the channel. Anyway, while each style has the same principal guidelines and each emphasizes a few different unique features in their training and applications. 18 types of weapons are also included as an extension of these evolving fist styles and ground feet grappling techniques. The development and history of Aomei Wing Chun were once hidden in obscurity, similar to the art itself. Just as the fruits of the art have dropped to the ground, the tree and its roots remain hidden. Nevertheless, archival texts from the Chinese government reveal a clear and distinct lineage beginning from the early Red Boat masters and traced down to Yen Kai-san. Understanding Ome symbolism. Take a look at some of these pictures here. With Marvimation, at one point I made this really cool 3D printed symbol of the crane going after the snake and vice versa, which was pretty interesting too. Also available on the CG Trader in case anybody wants to take a look at that. Again, I'm totally happy to just give it out for free. But if you want to throw in a couple of bucks, $1 even, that's cool. I would take a cent, but the company does not allow for anything lower than $1. So just take it. Just take it and go with it. So anyway, Wudang symbol. So left pick is the Wudang symbol. The center pick is the Shaolin symbol, and the right pick is the Aomei symbol. So the Aomei symbol is, as I said before, the crane and the snake. The center pick would be the tiger and the crane, and the leftmost is going to be the turtle and the snake. Anyhow, so the Aomei symbol referenced both Buddhist and Taoist symbols and was composed of snake and crane. The snake was adopted from the namesake symbol of Wudang Taoism, turtle and snake style, and represented the ability to adapt to the surrounding environment with ease and speed. In contrast, the crane was adopted from the namesake symbol of Shaolin Buddhism, tiger and crane style. The crane complemented the snake with big, wide arm swings, head on power and speed. Understanding the snake and crane symbols helps lead to an understanding of the Aomei Kung Fu style, which is based on short linear strikes that flow into grappling and throws after reading the opponent's movement and intention. The snake symbolizes an energy essence that shadows the motions of the crane's fast, linear, pinpoint, accurate strikes. When the crane's linear strike is blocked, the snake continues to circle, stick, and adapt to the change in direction of the energy. This leads to a system of undefined techniques that flows into the system of quick and powerful grappling throws, which is also demonstrated in Desui Wonglong Pai and other sub-styles. Sensitivity is the key to Aomei Kung Fu system. What does that even mean? It's a bunch of mumbo jumbo. It means nothing. No, it does. No, it does. What this means, and I'm going to explain it in a second, but before we're going to do that, we're just going to finish reading this page, because then I'm going to forget next time. So if I haven't read this whole bit there, I'm going to forget this whole bit there, and then I'm going to start the next live with this part over here. So let's see if that works. So one of the best known representatives of the Aomei Monastery's martial arts is Nung Moi. She was one of the few martial artists masters known to the public. This was partly because of the fictionalized works that were published in the early 20th century about her. Nung Moi also taught many students who later became famous for martial prowess. So Nung Moi hid from the Qing government as she traversed along the ancient trails of China and traveled from northern to southern China. Along the way, she visited many monasteries and taught many nuns at the monasteries and temples in the Canton province and at the nunneries near the southern Shaolin Temple in the Fujian province, including White Lotus Temple of Wengcheng Village. There we go. Cool. So what this thing was talking about earlier, let's go back into when the crane's linear strike is blocked and snake continues to circle, stick, and adapt to the change in the direction of energy. This leads to a system of undefined techniques that flows into the system of quick and powerful grappling throws, which is also demonstrated in Desui Wonglong Pai and other sub-styles. Sensitivity is the key to Aomei Kung Fu system. So, how does this differ from what you usually see in a bunch of the funny videos on YouTube and other styles? So everybody's used to those kind of fighting techniques or sparring techniques where you see two people going after each other, and it's usually just like jab, jab, and move away, jab, jab, move away, or it'll be a combination of kick, and then it'll be like kick, kick, and then punch, punch, and then move away and then start again. So that's usually what you guys are used to watching. It happens in martial arts, it happens in boxing, it happens in kickboxing. And then that is completely opposed to what you see in the grappling or judo or some people, what is it called? They call it jujitsu and stuff, where instead those martial arts are more about, okay, let's stick it up and let's stick together like glue and then just beat on each other or choke each other or that kind of grappling stuff there. So what this is over here is a completely different thing. So even let's say if you are standing and doing combat, there are ways in which in this book, and if you go to Grandmaster Tom Wong's classes, you will learn what sticking is all about, and it is something that is amazing. But again, most people can't do it in sparring and stuff because when you spar, you tend to use gloves. And when you have gloves on, it's hard to stick to your opponent. So when you're, let's say, fighting and grappling or whatever it is, this style is all about being pretty close to your opponents. So you'll be like in pretty close quarters. You'll be at fighting range. So your usual range, if you're fighting in karate or taekwondo or those kinds of fighting styles, is about maybe, I don't know. You'll probably be at least 3 or 4 feet from your opponent, and then you kind of move in to attack and stuff like that. When it comes to young Chuan and this stuff here, you're probably a whole lot closer than that. You're maybe about a foot apart. And once you actually engage in contact, the idea is that you stick to your opponent, and you are kind of, your arms are kind of colliding with each other, and you're trying to figure out how to get into the other person's aura, into the other person's, within the reach of the body, upper body components of the body. And in the beginning, you don't even use kicks. It's mostly about upper body, because you're adding too many elements. And most beginners, even before they get into the advanced classes with Grandmaster Tom Wong, won't even be doing any kicks at all. I mean, they will do kick exercises, but when they get into the sparring, they won't use kicks at all. And the reason for that, it is just so confusing. And a big brain twister to understand this completely different way of combat. You're not getting so close like you are in jiu-jitsu, where you're getting close to, like, basically choke out your opponent, but you're not getting so far away like you are in karate. And so this kind of thing here is it's kind of like a mid-space, kind of like a intermediate situation, where you are close enough that your arms, if you extend your arms, you're going to be able to touch your opponent. And once you engage in contact, it is all contact. So arms on arms, and you can grab your opponent, or you can just move your hands around the opponent. And so this whole fighting technique is always easier for people to understand and to learn if they have not practiced any other martial arts first. So if you want to really master this kind of thing with less difficulty, and if you've never fought, you've never done any other kind of martial arts, you would probably want to do this one first, because it is probably going to be the most complicated to learn anyway. And that's why a lot of the people who went into this, such as myself, I started off with Shotokan karate, Kempo karate, and a bunch of other things. For me, it was just like going into a completely different culture, and then being like, whoa, wow. So that's one thing to learn. If you already have picked up habits from different martial arts, it'll be a little bit different and difficult to get into this. But once you start enjoying how this whole system works, it is very gratifying, just like when I was learning how to do real flight. Which brings me to, this has been 60 minutes of me rambling on forever. We're going to end this video with, get yourself this book. And if you haven't had a chance to learn from Grandmaster Tom Wong or one of his students, there's another couple of his students, which I won't mention just in case I get in trouble, that you can learn from. So go get yourself this cool book. And if you're interested in learning this completely new style of martial arts, it's totally worth it. So thanks again for watching, and I will leave you with this cool image right here of this book. See you on Amazon.